Okay, that's my few remarks, and I'm going to hand over now to our first speaker, which is local SNP Councillor Kenny MacLaren. Kenny, thank you.
Thank you. Well, welcome to Paisley, Scotland's largest and best town. If I'd known there was going to be so many people here, I would have brought some of my leaflets, and you could have helped me leaflet all the way into the town and back. In 2014, Paisley was the only constituency in Renfrewshire to vote for independence, to vote yes. But next time round, we need a bigger vote. We need the rest of Renfrewshire and the rest of Scotland following Paisley's lead. Paisley has a history of political radicalism. On your march, you passed Woodside Cemetery, and just up in Woodside Cemetery is a monument to the 1820 martyrs, Baird, Hardy and Wilson. Those three men gave their lives for a better Scotland. All we have to do is make a mark on a ballot paper. The theme for today's march is poverty, and as people know, Paisley's had more than its fair share of poverty and the impact it has on individuals, families and communities. But poverty is man-made, and unfortunately for us, it's made by a Tory government in Westminster who want to enrich themselves at the expense of everyone else. The Tories haven't won an election in Scotland since 1955. I mean, I don't remember it, but I checked with George, and he said that was when Bill Haley was singing Rock Around the Clock. Yet we're still subjected to Tory policies. And they don't really care who they target. They go for the people least able to defend themselves. They froze the pension triple lock, which means with rising prices, that pension is getting worthless. They cut the benefits to those most in need, but gave rises to MPs. And then the national insurance contributions, they put them up, knowing that they would hit the lowest paid the worst. Let's be honest, you know, whether it breaks a Tory manifesto or promise, you know with the Tories, you just can't trust a Tory. Let's look at the record in COVID. Boris and his crooked cabinet weren't interested. They didn't prepare for the pandemic. The only time he got interested was when he found out how he could siphon public money into the private banks of his backers and his friends. £37 billion wasted on a track and test system that didn't work. 4.7 billion wasted or written off in dodgy contracts. And 72%, 72 pence in every pound spent on PPE equipment in England was wasted. They bought goods that didn't work and they paid over the odds for them. That's shocking, and yet no one's been held to account for it. We are now seeing inflation rising faster than it has in decades. Fuel prices going through the roof, and even food prices going higher. The campaigner and journalist Jack Monroe has done some research on some basic food staples, and the rate they're increasing. Bread up by 29% and rising. Baked beans 45% up and rising. And the cheapest packets of rice you can get from all of the major supermarkets have risen by a massive 344%. Ordinary people can't afford these rises. We don't have Russian oligarchs to back us up. The Scottish Government and local councils are doing the best they can with the limited resources they've got, but it's not enough. The UK's purse strings are held in Westminster, and it's time the Chancellor and the Prime Minister pulled their fingers out their collective hole and started putting the people first. They should look at the rise in fuel prices. They can cap them. They can reduce them like France did, like Germany did. They can put tax on excess profits of the energy companies. They can bail out the people the same way they bailed out the banks, but they haven't. We need to make them do that. They won't do that willingly. We have to put pressure on every single Tory. See, when a Tory candidate comes to your door for the council election, ask him how he's going to make the Tories listen to the people, and then don't bother voting for him anyway. So, there is poverty in Paisley. That much is obvious. There is in every community in Scotland. But there is no poverty of ambition. We want to make Paisley a stronger town. We want to see a more vibrant Renfrewshire. Most of all, we want to see an independent Scotland. I know some people have been reluctant to come out in public during the COVID crisis, but as long as you stay safe, take precautions, Please join in. We've got to recapture the hope, the ambition and the togetherness of 2014. It was a positive campaign when people with all different versions of what they saw as an independent Scotland could come together with one target in mind: independence. This time we need to be bigger, better and louder. We need everyone to get involved. Activists, supporters, politicians. It's not good enough to sit on the sidelines and leaving it to someone else. Get out, get active, show your support for independence and get the message out. In 1820, Baird, Hardy and Wilson marched under a banner, Scotland free or a desert. That message still stands today. No more delays, no more distractions. We need independence and we need it now. Thank you.